I'm Professor Tony Diaz, el libro traficante. This is Nuestra Palabra, Latinos having their say. Our author of the week is a dear friend of me and Nuestra Palabra. Her name is Delia Garcia, and we're talking about her book, Latina Leadership Lessons, 50 Latinas Speak. Welcome back to Houston.
Thank you, Tony. And Professor, it's always an honor to be with you.
No, likewise, likewise. And in this segment, we talk about home, and you've got two homes right now, DC and San Antonio. A ver cuando Houston, but you're also estás en casa aquí.
Yes.
Tell us a little about your trajectory from your origins to having these two wonderful cities as your home.
Yes. Well, first, thank you for having me. I was born and raised in Kansas, Wichita, Kansas, and my mother is from South Texas, in Alamo, next to McAllen, in the Valley, and my father is from Western Kansas. And so my grandparents started a restaurant. We're the oldest restaurant Mexican family restaurant in Kansas since 1963. So that's actually where my parents met. And so some people are like, how did you end up in Kansas? And my mother went to Kansas. My father, so they met there. And I'm one of 5 daughters. I'm the middle of 5. And yeah, so I was born and raised in Wichita. Went to school there all of my life and undergrad. But I also did some undergrad in San Antonio at UTSA. And then did my master's degree in San Antonio again. I went back to St. Mary's University.
What was your master's in?
In political science, with the focus, obviously, on public administration.
Obvio.
So the cool story there is this beautiful day of April 27, 2004, I get a magical phone call from the state of Kansas, the chief of staff at the time in the House of Representatives. And she was like, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, I'm studying for my finals. Can I call you back, this weekend? She's like, well, no, let me just get right to the point. There's an open seat in where your family's restaurant is. And it's always been created for a Latino or Latina to run and hopefully get elected. It's never happened. One person tried it unsuccessfully. So we think you should do it. And I was like, I'm in Texas, and I'm 26. No one will vote for a Latina that had never been done, a woman, and a 26-year-old. So I said, I'll call you back later. I can help you find somebody. So
How'd you do on the final?
I actually did pretty good. I said no to her, and it was of pure statistics. Women get asked about 5 times. Women of color have to be asked 7 to 8 times to run for public service office, and so I was in that category. And so I said no 5 times over like 2-3 weeks span, and I prayed about it. I went home for Mother's Day that May, and no. I had a talk with my family. I had another talk with some mentors, and including one in the book, Senator Leticia Vanderpute, and one of the first Latinas elected to the Texas legislature in the Senate. And I ran. And so in August of 2004, I both graduated with my master's and was elected to the House of Representatives and made history in my home state of Kansas. So that's the Kansas part.
Right. Which is wonderful. I mean, congratulations for having defied those odds, but for also reminding us that we have to make an effort to invite women to participate.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Please participate, whether it's voting, whether it's running, whether it's supporting the person who's running. And that was sort of where this came from as well.
Now, I think of you as a writer. Of course, a lot of the world thinks of you as someone in politics.
Yes.
Others think of you as a community organizer. How do all those blend in? Did you ever imagine that you'd have a writing career?
No, it really came out of the pandemic. I think had I not been forced to slow down, because I was always like, hard, fast. When I was in the legislature making laws for my state for 6 years, then I moved to DC for 13 years, and that's hustle and bustle too. And then when the pandemic happened, I was like, wait, what? And I'd always say, I'm going to write a book one day. I'm going to write a book, and a lot of people say that.
Right.
But what pushed me was what I was witnessing on TV every day, and just around me, people, literally dying from the pandemic and COVID, and how leaders were dealing with it or not dealing with it. And for me, I would always see it's always the backbone were women, and especially the ones I would see in my family or just around me, so Latina leaders. So I thought, we are leaders. We are scientific, and I think it's important to put a mirror so I can see myself, and so that leaders can see themselves in this book. So yeah, a lot was happening in that beginning part of 2020, and that's when I began to write. I was so nervous. I didn't think I could do it. I asked in the book. You'll see I gave a shout out to Sandra Cisneros, who I know you also work with her. And I remember calling her one day, and I was like, I want to write a book, but I know nothing about it. And so, like, what do I start? How do I start? What do I do? And she's like, just write. And I was like, no. But yeah, she was right.
That's fantastic. And it's resulted in this fantastic book. I'm so happy that we were able to play a role when you released the book. You did a tour in your 3 cities, Wichita. You did it also in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
I was happy to work with you at the Latino Bookstore at the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center in San Antonio. And we did an event for you here in Houston.
Yes.
For folks that don't have their signed copy, you may now get your signed copy by visiting nuestrapalabra.org. And I hope that you can make this part of your family library, public library, or underground library. And I want you to know that this is not just for women. This is to empower others. Don't just buy a copy for yourself. Give it away. And every copy that you purchase, the proceeds go to Nuestra Palabra to help other people find their voices. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for doing that.